Okay, perfect. The floor goes to Julián González. He's going to talk about the results of migration processes. Can someone help me to start my PDF file? Thank you. My name is Julián González García. I'm here to talk to you about the results of the migration of CartoCiudad into open source. First of all, thank you, gvSIG, for inviting me to be here and tell you what we do. First of all, my presentation is somehow shorter than its title, so I suppose you'll be pleased. It's very short anyway. First of all, what is CartoCiudad? Those of you who attended IDE conferences or other meetings where CartoCiudad was presented, you will see how the project has evolved, its definition has evolved, and I like very much this definition on the screen. Let me first read it. CartoCiudad is a database for roads mapping information from all over Spain, which allows us to identify, address and calculate routes and areas of influence or catchment areas. Data from official organizations from all over Spain, which means nationally and regionally. Why do I think this definition is very complete? Because it tells us how things are stored in a database, the contents, the roads, the maps of a city, what you can do to find addresses, calculate routes, catchment areas, and the last point, which I myself will add. How do we get access to it? Well, let me explain. We try to maximize possibilities for accessing the data. You can access it through the contents portal, through the geo portal, through an API, by directly resorting to the services OGC, REST, or CNIG. This year we included REST services specifically. And finally, at the download center, we also make available the database in categories per province or per region. Well, everything I just said can be summarized in this picture. We have a number of web servers, portal, geoportal, API, which consume our own services, WMS, WMSC, WMTS, or WFS 110. We also have a WPS service and REST services. REST services, well, basically we have a bit of a problem, and it's good to admit it. We have a problem with the geoportal data for quite a few years now. It's not a new problem. It comes from a long time ago. My geoportal specifically is the geoportal that we had at the very beginning. So yes, we get quite a few complaints or queries about the geoportal webpage or website, and it's true. As browsers have made progress and been developed, problems have arisen on the geoportal. We are doing our best, we're working on it. We will try to launch a new geoportal which can also take REST services instead of WMS to give users a much better experience. Well, the picture is self-explanatory. as to the structure of the database. Let me go back to March 2012. In the Girona conference, we described the situation of the project as far as software, open source software was concerned. In March 2012, we were not doing bad, actually, as to having solutions based on free software in our environment. In fact, we were using Apache, GeoObserver, Degree, OpenLayers, 52 North. It's all open source. And basically, our open source use was restricted to clients and services. So our goal at the time was to take a step forward as regards the manager of the database, because we were using Oracle Spatial at the time, and with regard to operating systems. What is today's situation after 2 years and 9 months? Well, you see the icon on the screen, the Windows Server System. We have it on one of our servers. Why didn't we change the operating system of these servers? Well, because it was easier to live it, to be honest with you. So far, those application servers do a fine job on Windows Server System. So, yes, it's a bit of a sore point, and we're planning on changing them, on replacing them, particularly if former WMSs disappear. So once we make that decision, we will also change the operating system. But if you note, as for the rest of application servers, we are already using open source software. Only open source software. What did we do last year? Well, I'll tell you later. Sorry, I will tell you now. Yes, over the past year, we've been hectic. We've done a lot of work. We were sort of hibernating for a while, but at the end, this year, things have been absolutely hectic. We did the migration of the SGBD of Oracle to PostgreSQL. We did find a few problems, but it's not so radical a change. So really, applications work both for Oracle and PostgreSQL. We did the migration from Oracle Spatial to PostGIS. That didn't pose much of a problem either. But problems were encountered when we tried to use a solution other than Oracle Spatial Network. We are now using Grasshopper. And we had a bit of a difficulty when we tried to migrate all the procedures stored of PL/SQL to PL/PGSQL. In this case, basically, we did as the manual told us, the manual for PGSQL, namely change a few terms in Oracle and then your procedure will be stored on Postgre. Yes, that's fine, but then you realize you are using lots of functionalities from Oracle. And we did have to find the equivalence in PostGIS, but it was done anyway, we did it. And obviously you do not always succeed we also failed. In fact, for the production environment, we were using Oracle RAC, and we wanted to have something similar in Postgres. There was a pilot experience about PG Pool, and for a few months we used PG Pool. But at some point we lost control. We don't know what exactly happened, whether it was caused to our ignorance or the peculiarities of our production environment. So we went backwards, we reversed, and we decided to use PostgreSQL databases. Particularly, what did we do concerning services? The only thing we had to do was to configure the access to data in WMS and WFS services with the new SGBT. When we went to Girona 2 years ago, we had already done this and we had no problem. So that was quite quick a thing. And then we had to do some REST services. Well, let me tell you something. There is a comment by an anonymous user on the IDE blog about an entry on Spire. I will read it to you. As a developer of mapping services, I had been waiting for this service to be updated. And now that I can have a look at it, I am so disappointed. It continues to be a rigid search system, unable to find streets even in Madrid. No good. No good to me. Well, that was a big blow. But it's fine to be criticized every now and then, because we learn from mistakes. And we then manage to understand that most web developers are not willing to stay or to have a fight with the WFS. Besides, we understood that a GFS cannot be used as a geocodifier. So we then thought about creating REST services for any web developer to understand them. They understand them perfectly and they can use them because they use them in other applications. And then we got another comment. I don't know if it was from the same user, but the comment read, "These services are very, very useful," and we were so happy. We were so very happy. And that was very nice. And then we have other clients. We also had to update the WPS service to version 0.4 on the 1.0. We did not only want to provide a REST interface, but we also wanted to comply with standards. Don't forget, we're an official organization and we are to meet standards. So we included operations for direct and reverse exchangeability as per REST services. And this job is still pending, is not yet in production. Version 0.40 is still used because the GeoPortal or the GeoViewer continues using WFS, but once we manage to replace or change the GeoPortal, we will launch the new WFS. And another thing we did, we created a small client, a widget jQuery UI for interactively searching for addresses and nouns, all these things that we all look up when we browse a website for hotels, or when we surf Google. Yes, you can look for nouns of buildings, and this search, the browser will give you the answer. So why shouldn't we do the same? Well, we did it and we made it available. Anybody can use the widget jQuery UI on this address. And please send us your comments. So over the past year, we were helped by Escola. He helped us a lot with the creation of new REST services, with the creations of the WPS and the migration of WPS. And so we were able to come up with an alternative to the calculation of routes. And here come my conclusions. The shift towards open source software, and we're still there, took more than 2 years. I think it's quite a long time, but well, we made it eventually. And well, people like to measure things, so I can tell you that it took us more than the pregnancy of an elephant. In general terms, the performance of the services was improved with the SGBT. Another conclusion is that the management of the database was simplified by reducing the number of procedures stored when we had to change them from PL to SQL and to PL PGSQL. And another conclusion, the change of the operating system in the servers was transparent to most of the equipment CartoCiudad. Most of the team. That was alright with them. They didn't mind shifting to Linux. And summarizing, we believe the change has been very beneficial. And we believe it will be beneficial for those who use our services. And I think it's been beneficial to the organization as well, because not only the project CartoCiudad is migrating to open source, the flagship of the basis, GXL, is also open source now. It is using PostGIS, GeoServer, Cache, and on Linux as well. So really, I encourage you all and all organizations to at least have a try and do the same migration, the same change. It's not difficult. It's not difficult at all. And that's really what I think. So come on, have a go. Try. If it doesn't work, continue using your private software. That's all from me. Thank you. Yeah, sorry. I would like to add something. Yeah, land registrars must have a copy of the CartoCiudad database. Do you use our services at the land registry? No sound. Yeah, I was going to tell you later, actually. Yes, we are using it. and we plan on including a specific browser on the website of the Association of Land Registrars. That's what we're working on at the moment. We're very much conditioned by practices and habits of consumers.